All right, hello everybody. Here we are. Hello, men. It is
Hello.
April 11th, 2024. And now, Alex, I'm on my deathbed.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear.
So thanks for that. No, I'm just kidding. It's not your fault. I haven't even seen you. Really what it is, there are 3 traditions like no other happening right now. Number 1 is the Masters. Number 2 is Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia in the poop game. And 3 is me getting sick when the season changes. So
Yeah.
Hey, we're on
It
a
is what it is.
2-podcast streak of one of us being sick. So, Jordan, I'm
know.
sorry, but
Yeah.
next
I'm on
week.
deck for tomorrow.
Yep.
Next week, Jordan will be live from the hospital. So
Right.
tune in for that.
Mm.
No, we don't want
Hey,
that. That's not me
those
wishing.
clicks.
That's fine. It's gonna be fine. Yeah, if it gets clicks.
Right.
Yeah,
But
right.
here we are.
Take one
We
for
had
the team.
Yeah, we have an interesting show tonight because the Chicago Bulls are fighting for whatever the hell they're fighting for right now.
Home
good.
court advantage in the play-in tournament. Important.
Great.
You
Yeah,
know, they were described.
Great.
Yeah, they were described this week like the Bulls are now that team you just check in. Like, that text you your occasional friend. You just shoot them a text at the beginning of the week, see how they're doing, and be like, all right, well, I'll circle back in a couple weeks. That's kind of how the Bulls are. Like next Wednesday, I'm sure we'll be excited for the play-in game, not playoff.
Thrilled.
And this week there's been some excitement around what Billy Donovan won't do when it comes to the Kentucky job. He's not leaving. So yeah.
Nah.
He doesn't want to do the whole
No, he's
recruiting
not
thing
leaving that.
anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Honestly, listening to some of the coaches talk, I'm all for players getting paid, but like I get why the coaches are frustrated, not from a sense of the players are getting paid, but from a sense of you can't really build a program if each season you have to 100% invest into that player and commit them each season. Like it's a tough gig, so I get why.
It's the Wild West, and they
Yeah,
got to fix it. There's something that has to be done to fix
Yeah.
like recruiting and all of that. But whatever. This isn't a college show. This is a pro show.
Pretty much.
UConn won the basketball tournament. Congrats, boys. We picked the champion.
Yeah. Angel Reese might come to the sky though. I saw that projecting some mock drafts.
Sounds
That'd be
great.
dope. Yeah.
Hashtag sky up.
Yeah.
Whenever-
That would be fun.
Yeah.
So that's what we got going on. We're gonna talk Cubs, Sox, Bulls are happening as we're talking. Yeah, I guess we could start with the Cubs bullpen, just being the Cubs bullpen. It's not even like for me, it's not even like super concerning. It's just kind of a little concerning because we're only like 10 games into this. So
It's fairly concerning.
What we see now isn't going to be what we see like in September, I guess, is where I'm at. Jordan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I went to bed after the first inning for each game of the series. I mean, I love and hate the West Coast games because I get to fall asleep to the Cubs game, but hate because I barely watch them. So on when was it? On Monday when I saw they were up 8-0, I was like, good time to go to bed. Woke up and then saw that they blew the lead. It's concerning in the sense that like if the division race is going to be close in September, these games in theory could play a difference. Do I think the bullpen we have now is going to be the bullpen at the end of the season? No. But I also wonder how many of these opportunities are you going to give to someone like Jose Cuas, where there's just not improvement? If you look at someone like Gensi Almonte, he struggled in his first few outings, but has since turned it around. And we're just not seeing that turnaround with Quas. So that's the only thing I'm concerned about in terms of how long that leash is.
Yeah. Alex?
Yeah, I think the main source of frustration for me is the sheer fact that we could have addressed and bulletproofed some of the holes in this bullpen in the offseason, I don't think it's unreasonable to sit here and say, hey, you know what? We could have gotten a David Robertson. We could have gone out and gotten some of these free agent arms. Hell, even a Kenley Jansen, someone to just bulletproof this bullpen. And now you're in a situation again where you have to figure things out. And okay, listen, bullpens are going to be figured out because they're tricky. We know that. But you had an opportunity to bulletproof this lineup and line up as in a bullpen because you kind of line things up the way you ideally put it together. You know that Alzolay right now is the closer. You know Hector Neris is the setup man. But you know there's plenty of spots where you could have bulletproofed it and you didn't. And I mean, I just like the fact that you blew an 8-0 lead just leaves such a sour taste in your mouth, especially considering you could have won that series. I like the way they responded the next day, considering that the bullpen had to be used again heavily. But to be fair to the bullpen too, they've had to work hard. That you're
Right.
not getting length from your starters, and the one game you were slated to go deep with your starter, it rained for 3 hours. It's been kind of tough luck on them, but I mean, I think we're at least at a point right now where you say a guy like Jose Cuas, at least send him down to Iowa. He shouldn't be on the roster right now. He hasn't been reliable. Yency Almonte had it rough against the Rockies. We saw that when they blew that lead. But other than that, I think he's been a lot better. So I'll
Yeah.
give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. But the Jose Cuas thing right now is flat out not working. Just flat out not working. And I will say this too. You hope Hector Neris finds that movement again because he's been pretty flat, and you kind of hope Everett Alzolay gets it together too because he hasn't been dominant either. I know it's a small sample size, but he hasn't. So that just kind of needs to come together if they want to succeed here.
Yeah, I think that the slam dunk, like keep the bullpen together move for them was Hector Neris. I think that's who they thought was going to be that guy. We haven't
Right.
seen it yet. But yeah, Jose Cuas is just
It's
it's not
rough.
going great. It's not
Yeah.
going
It's
great. And
been.
even on Wednesday when we're down 1,000,000 or whatever it was, and he comes in and we're just like, just give us some innings. He could barely even do that. It
Yeah.
was just
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's kind of like the final straw. Like you said, Wednesday was as low of a leverage situation as you can find to try and build back up his confidence, and
yeah.
even that didn't work.
Yeah. If you can't
To
get outs
me,
in garbage time, what do you know?
What good are
yeah,
you?
but and it is. I mean, they do have decisions coming up. Jameson Taillon is going to make one more rehab start in Iowa. Maybe it's something where we see Taillon come up, we see Quas go down, and then, like I was mentioning last week, Ben Brown and Javier Assad, one of them is not going to technically be in the starting rotation, but they will essentially be a hybrid starter for how Consular uses the rotation. There's going to be games where we have an opener, so whether that's Assad coming in, pitching 4 or 5 innings, or Brown, I think that's probably where we go to try and at least put a band-aid on the bullpen until we get closer to the trade deadline.
I'm very curious to find out what Craig Counsell is going to do when both Steele and Tyone are back,
Yeah,
because Javier Assad and Ben Brown have both looked really good.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Javier Assad is somebody who hasn't gotten the credit he deserves. I did a blog the other day about his numbers, and his
Mhm.
overall numbers would shock you of how good he is. I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
have him
it's
in front of me
incredible.
right
Yeah.
Yeah,
now,
no.
but he is good, and he gets outs, and it's incredible. And then Ben Brown is just like this young talent that finds himself in trouble and then gets out of it. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty cool to see. So
And
it's going to
he's
be
got
interesting when he
stuff.
does, because
Oh, yeah.
He's
he's
got
got
actual
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Though, so I think with my concern right now, my top concern isn't as much the bullpen, is that we're not getting 5-6 innings out of our starters. And that's a league wide thing. There's not a lot of that happening right now. And you see, excuse me, I'm sorry. It's going to be like this all night, guys. I'm sorry. But um you see it around the league, and you're seeing these injuries pop up to some really big names.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got a guy like Aaron Nola in Philly, who this week he really calmed down his fastball. He averages around 95, 96 at the beginning of the year. And last night his average was 90, 91, and people were freaking out. And they asked him about it. He said, "No, I'm tired of handing it to my bullpen after like 4 or 5 innings. I wanted to give my team 7 innings." And I feel like we've lost that in baseball. And Kyle Hendricks was a perfect example of doing that because he tops out at 88, 89 and would always give us innings, but he can't do that anymore. It's not in the cards anymore. So I'm interested to see if Craig Counsell notices this trend and if he tells his guys, like, hey, calm it down a little bit. Like, I want you for 6 tonight. And will we see like a Imanaga? Well, Imanaga gave us 6. He probably would have given us 6 on Sunday if it didn't rain.
Could have
But
gone
if
7.
yeah,
Yeah.
but when Steele comes back and when Tyone comes back even, is he gonna tell him like, "Hey, give me 7 if you can." And we're gonna see these guys try to lay off and try to be more pinpoint accurate, which I would be all for.
I think I'd do that with Steel for sure. Given how the game has kind of advanced in the sense that hitters have the advantage from the moment they step into a plate, and just given the nature of the Cubs rotation, m- most of the rotation outside of maybe Steele and Imanaga, you don't want them facing a lineup for a third time. So I think that's going to be the reason, kind of why it's going to be capped at 6 innings more times than not. And I think we've been seeing it. I mean, honestly, we've been seeing it since last year with Hendricks. Is teams are solving him real quick. I mean, it started in the second half last year when he was going up against Milwaukee, when he was going up against Atlanta, and we've seen it so far. Granted, he's had tough draws. No one's taking that against him. Texas, the Dodgers, the Padres. Those are all tough calls, but that's also the nature of the beast. I mean, you have to be able to get uh, hitters out, and I think we're just slowly seeing that gradual decline in Hendricks in terms of being able to master a lineup multiple times over.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Alec?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and here's the thing: is the Cubs rotation as a whole. I mean, Shota Imanaga is missing bats, but
Mhm.
as a whole, it really doesn't. And missing bats is more valuable than ever in this day and age. And I think velocity is more valuable than ever. We live in an age where a triple digit thrower is no longer rare. It doesn't draw the oohs and ahs anymore because it's so regular. And, we have an understanding of pitching now, with computers and science, where people are able to put more velocity and spin rate on their pitches. And now you're seeing closers like Johan Duran throw 103-mile-an-hour sinkers and cutters that just defy the physical ability of a human being, but you're seeing it. And I mean, you look at Kyle Hendricks, and we've known for years now he has very little margin of error, just the way he throws. But I think we're evolving as a game, and it's harder for him to be able to pinpoint everything because we've seen times where Kyle Hendricks can breeze through the top, first time through, and then you see batters, they're waiting back and then they're letting
Mhm.
it go. And listen, I know that he's a notorious slow starter, and we've seen starts to seasons where it doesn't look good, and then it all evens and figures it out. And I don't think that his form is as bad as this is, but I also think that it's valid to say, you know what? We've already kind of moved past his best days. Last year, he had a good year. Okay, like a
Mhm.
3.70 ERA, a 3.80 FIP. That's a good season. But there was a point when he was throwing in the low threes and even high twos in ERA, and I don't think he's that anymore. By a combination of people know how to approach him, he's older, and the game has just evolved. I think all those threes are in factors. So I think if he has time and settles in, he can still be a decently effective pitcher. But with what's on the horizon, with Ben Brown coming here, Justin Steele coming back, Tyone coming back, a future with Cade Horton, it's really hard right now to pull Javier Assad out of the rotation. Like, if you told me when Justin Steele came back and Javier Assad's the odd man out, I'd say no. No. I hate to say it, but it's Kyle Hendricks right now is the odd man out.
Yeah, and the question is, what do you do with him? Like, I think he would go to the bullpen, and he would say, you know what, I know I'm the odd man out. I will go to the bullpen. I
He'd
feel
take
like
it like he's a professional.
Yeah, I feel like he would do that because he's made it known, like, he's a Cub. He doesn't want it. Like, he's not going anywhere else. Like, this is the end for him. Like, he's staying in Chicago. So I do feel like he would be a guy that would go to the bullpen. But
I mean,
how effective would he be? Like, what would be different in the bullpen? I
Eat
guess
a
you would
few
only see
innings.
batters once.
And
You're
that's
right.
the thing.
Like
I mean,
Tyler.
Alex hit the nail on the head. It's all about velocity now, especially coming out of the bullpen. So that doesn't really fit Hendricks' profile. So at this point, a move to the bullpen would just be to eat innings, and whether it's the Cubs are up 5-6 runs, you just need someone to get you to the end of the game, or vice versa, they're down, and you just need to wash it. That's probably what we're looking at for Hendricks. And look,
Yeah.
it sucks to say, 2016 World Series hero, but the fact of the matter is we're 8 years removed from that season. And Hendricks just doesn't have it anymore. And
Yeah.
he's going to be afforded the benefit of the doubt, but it can't last too much longer if these struggles are going to continue.
No, I mean, we're in a spot right now where you don't want to make the most rash decisions, but you're at a point where, like, we have to have a serious conversation about this. And, when I mean serious conversation, I mean evaluate what you have now, evaluate what you're going to have, and just look at the performances overall. Like I just said, if Steele came back and you said Javier Assad was coming out of the rotation, I think you'd be stupid to do that. I don't think you can take Javier the way he's pitching right now. And Javier Assad has always been a guy where I've kind of just sat back and I'm like, okay, when's the regression? When's the regression? And so far,
it's not coming.
He just gets outs. He doesn't do it. He's not fancy. He doesn't throw 99 miles an hour. He just gets outs.
Which is crazy because last year we were
last
year we were like, oh, he's so valuable out of the bullpen. Why not start him if he's just going to get outs? Yeah, this is like, it's good. Also, to the point of maybe it's time for Kyle Hendricks to move backwards a little bit. Cole Franklin is making his AAA debut tomorrow, and that's another arm in the Cubs organization. He had 4 perfect innings in Tennessee in his last start, and then he's moving up to AAA this week. It's another name to watch, possibly late in the season. Coming up, a few innings. So.
Yeah, the Cubs, I mean, so far they've shown signs of being aggressive with their pitching promotions this season. Whether it was Cole Franklin, Michael Arias moved from the starting rotation to a relief role with Tennessee, eyeing a potential call-up later in the season. So I have no doubt that it's like we said at the start, the pitching staff that the Cubs have now is not going to be the pitching staff they have in September. Which is why I'm not overly concerned. But to Alex's point, we have to start having these conversations, and I'm sure Jed and Carter have like a general outline of progression in terms of what they want to do.
I will say though, keeping Hendricks in the rotation when Tyone and Steele are both back, that's like Alex, that's disaster. That's
and that's
like the David Ross regime just hanging around. Like I expected different. I do expect different.
Yeah, and honestly, that's why there's not really a need right now. And you could almost make the same argument when Tyon comes back. Really, the decision is going to be when Steele comes back in May. How do you line up your rotation? That's going to be the first true sense of, are you ready to put all your chips forward in terms of getting the most productive outs out of your staff? Or is it, like you said, going to be a repeat of David Ross, where instead of turning to Javier Assad last season for starts, he turned to Drew Smiley?
Yeah. So, I forgot to put the banner up. Check this out.
There's the banner. There it is. There it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna obviously keep an eye on the Cubs stuff because that's kind of what we do. Before we get off the topic though, can we give some kudos to this offense because it's ridiculous?
Yeah.
Christopher Morel is just balling. Seiya Suzuki, MVP candidate, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Bush hit another bomb. Was it yesterday he hit another
Yep,
bomb?
off Dylan
Yesterday,
Cease.
yep.
Yeah.
Off Dylan
Yeah.
Cease, yeah.
I mean, and like these guys are hitting. These guys are hitting. Ian Happ's getting on base. Nico
They're
Horner,
walking.
the
That's
average,
the
yeah.
thing. They're
Yep.
getting on base.
Nico Horner isn't hitting, but he's getting on base. Ian Happ is hitting
And
and getting on base.
he's making contact. I think it'll even out
Hard
for Horner
contact.
eventually.
Hard
Yeah.
contact. Yes, that's the other thing. They're like top 5 in the league in hard hit balls. They're top 5, top 10 in a whole lot of offensive categories. So
Yeah.
as much
I
as
mean,
sad as we are about the bullpen, the offense is awesome.
yeah, I mean, the approach has been great. I mean, quickly on Morel, if you look at his percentage of swings in the strike zone, it's 87% this season. He is finding his pitch in the zone and he's attacking it. He's not really chasing as much, and his contact rate is just over 80% too. So it's a great approach to have. It's a great mindset to have. And the hope is that this is the form of not only morale, but the offense that we have moving forward. Because then once Nico gets going, this thing is going to be fun.
Yeah. And we took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers. I don't know if we mentioned that. Which
Yeah,
we all
we
predicted. We
That
all
was pretty
predicted.
great.
We
I
all
know.
predicted 2 or 3 from the Dodgers. So
No.
okay, well, things are great on the north side. Bullpen, whatever, but things are great on the north side. Super compared to what's going
They're
on.
pretty good.
I mean, but let's
What's like
compare it
great,
to
they're
what's
good,
going on
yeah.
on the let's compare to it what's going on the south side.
Yeah.
Because my God, I almost feel like this is Jerry Reinsdorf's dream. Is all the good guys cannot play baseball.
I mean, the good guys
This is
weren't
great.
the good guys weren't going to win anyways. But what it's funny because like Alex was talking about Hendricks, and I saw a tweet that I missed earlier that the White Sox actually optioned Oscar Colas to AAA Charlotte again, and it's like, why are you doing that? I mean,
For one game.
That's what I mean. You have these players that should be in your lineup every day playing to see if they're pieces or not. Colas being one of the biggest question marks you need an answer on. And they
Corey
just
Lee should be playing every day. Oscar Colas should be playing every day.
yeah. I mean, now with Mancada out, the hope is so sick.
Eric Crochet should be pitching every day.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
His arm will fall off, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I mean, like it's just one after another. They just felt like flies. I feel like last week at this time, they were like, we knew that they were bad, and now nobody like name a starting lineup for the Chicago White Sox. You probably can't. Like it's that bad.
And I don't want to laugh at an injury, but I saw because the Mancada injury happened what, Tuesday, was it?
Yeah, it was
Yes,
the
he was
game.
talking the first. Yeah,
Tuesday afternoon, I saw tweets that were like, "Oh, Yohan says he's playing through an injury. He'll be fine. He stole a base on Monday's game." And then fast forward to that night, and now he's probably out.
Like
for
the
season.
SpongeBob thing, a few hours later.
I was just gonna say that. Yes,
and it's like you have the thing from Joe Cowley about Reinsdorf knew that Grifol should have been fired, but he didn't want to eat the money. But he didn't want to eat the money for 2 years. And it's like this thing just has no direction. And it was funny for all the jokes we make at the Oakland A or the A's expense. The White Sox are very quickly reaching that level of just
the A's took a no today, 7 into the 7th against the Rangers.
The A's have been low key kind of pesky so far.
They took 2 of 3 out of Detroit.
And that's what's crazy is because and that's why I always say like the A's are not a terrible spot like the White Sox because the A's sign veterans, albeit they don't spend, but they'll find you JD Davis on the waiver wire. They'll bring him in for a couple months so they could flip him. And they have some decent prospects. I mean, Mason Miller is a phenomenal starting pitcher who's going to be great. And that's why you just look at the White Sox and you wonder, what are we doing? Like, why is Kevin Pillar or Robbie Grossman getting playing time over some of your other players that you should find answers
Does
in?
Robbie Grossman even have a hit yet?
He was a leadoff hitter a couple
You know, I'm
games
a
ago.
big fan of his Uncle Rex. Big fan of
Yeah,
his Uncle
right.
Rex.
Ooh,
Well, you know,
ooh.
Grossman was put in the leadoff spot because Andrew Benintendi's been sucking wind, who, by the way, is the richest contract in White Sox history. Andrew Benintendi, a guy who
A
I was
Benintendi.
really Benintendi. When he came up with the Red Sox, I'm like, that
Yeah.
kid's going to be a stud. And
Yeah,
honestly,
I
early in
know.
his career, he looked like he was going to be a
Well,
stud.
think of
Yeah.
that. Think
You
of that
know?
outfield in Boston because it was
Yeah.
him and it was Mookie. Like there was.
No.
I mean,
There's
they
a
looked
reason
like
they
they were
won the
going to be.
World Series. Yeah.
I mean, but that's just crazy because they were set for a decade, and then I
It's
don't
all
know. That's a
gone.
That's a
Yeah.
Boston problem. Also, I
Yeah.
was watching the Red Sox game last night because I still write for the Red Sox site, and I mean they had the Orioles dead to rights, and then the defense just fell apart. They were up
Wow.
like
Wow.
5-0, and they lost like 8-5. I mean, error after error after error. Like something's in the air where they just cannot win at Fenway Park anymore because
The
it
Cubs
happened
go to
last
Boston
year.
in a few weeks, don't they?
I know. Yeah,
They
they
do.
go at the
Yep.
end of this month.
Yep.
So hopefully that sticks around for just a little bit longer.
Fingers
But
crossed.
but inside the locker room, it's bad. Obviously, the fans are pissed. It's just a mess in Boston right now. So it's not only the White Sox; there are other teams that are having problems.
Both
Oh, yeah,
Sox
The Red,
are.
of course, the Red
Yeah.
Sox still kind of have a winning record. So there's that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like going back to like the White Sox injury situation is like a lot of Sox fans have already are already giving the eulogy for the Yoan Moncada era
Oh, yeah.
in Chicago. Like
Oh, yeah.
they see this as the end. 3 to 6 months, so it very well could be. Next year, I believe, is the $25 million team option or a $5
Mhm.
million buyout, and I think the Sox are going to save the money and they're going to take that
Yeah.
$5 million buyout. But I mean, you know, if you are eulogizing Yoan Moncada's tenure here, you know, do I think he was a complete bust? No, but very disappointing considering his ceiling was so high. He was the number one prospect in baseball when he was traded over in the Chris Sale trade in the winter of 16 and 17. He became like the building block of that Rick Hahn rebuild. Yes, you already had Tim Anderson and Jose Abreu, but like when they made that trade to get Moncada and Kopech for Chris Sale, like this is it. This is the start of a new era. That's what it symbolized. And here's this 5-tool player that can hit. He can hit for power. He can run. He can defend. You know, he could do it all. And, you know, you finally saw in his third year him build something. He had like a 5+, you know, the 2019 year.
Yeah.
You remember
I'm
how
looking
good he
at it
was
now.
that year.
Yeah. Looking
Yeah.
at it now. 5.2 WAR, 139
I
WRC
mean,
plus. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
also I can't blame him for any of this because he was given nothing.
Oh,
We can see
yeah. I
we can see
mean,
now that the organization does not care about winning. So
And he's been hurt a lot.
and he's been
yeah.
hurt a
I
lot.
mean,
So, but that makes you question, like, is he getting the proper training in an organization that doesn't care? Is he getting like the proper like instructions of what to do and where to be and stuff in an organization that clearly doesn't care?
well,
Like,
yeah, and that's the question because the Sox were great at getting these prospects to the major league level. They were great at getting Eloy, getting Yoan, getting Luis Robert to the major league
It
level. But
crushed
they
the
have,
minors.
yeah, but they haven't been great at continuing that development once they reach the major league level. We saw it last year with Luis Robert Jr., but I think that's just because there's certain players who have a talent that can far exceed anything an organization does. And I think when healthy, I think Robert is one of those players. But
Absolutely.
someone like Moncada, someone like Eloy, they need consistent coaching, and it just
yeah,
seems like that's not there for the Sox.
Well, Eloy is never healthy.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
never, ever, ever healthy. And, you know,
Right.
they're talking about how Eloy is going to come back this weekend. And I'm like, I guarantee you he'll be back on the IL very soon. Like at
Yeah.
this point, you wait for him to
Yeah.
come back and then he'll hit a grounder. He'll run to first. Then he'll come up late. It happens all the time. I think I saw the number of how many times he's been on the IL in his major league career, and it's astonishing. And
Yeah, it's
you
a
know,
CVS receipt.
yeah, and I mean, think about it. He hit 31 home runs his rookie year. He hasn't even eclipsed 20 in a season since.
Yeah.
And
He was supposed to be
Speaking
a 40 home run hitter.
Yeah. Speaking of Eloy, Jose Quintana torched the Braves today.
Hey, broken clock is right twice a day.
I mean, look at Jose
He's been
Quintana's
doing
numbers the past
well
2
this year.
years.
Yeah, I know.
He's been doing well this year.
And
Also,
honestly,
sorry,
I was
Theory,
gonna say,
I have a theory.
I was just
God,
gonna say,
all
speaking of
all
that
three.
trade, I
Say it
know.
once.
I was gonna say, speaking of that trade, I think we're seeing why now the Cubs are so comfortable giving up Eloy, because I think they probably saw, and I think it was David Kaplan who was on this, that he was told shortly after the trade that the Cubs never thought he would stay healthy at the major league level, and
He was
we're seeing
reckless.
that play out.
Well,
Yeah,
he certainly wasn't going to the Sox, who apparently can't keep anybody healthy. But
Sure.
Alex, what is your theory?
So, Quintana, his time in Chicago was disappointing, right? You know,
Yeah,
we've all talked about that ad nauseum. When they traded for him, 2017, what key thing happened in baseball in 2017 around that time? If you guys can think about what I'm
Let's
thinking
see.
about.
It was July, right? It was right at the deadline.
You don't even have to think about the month. Just think about that era. For that era from like 2017 to the pandemic. Like, what happened in baseball?
Is that when
Astro Science
the
theory?
balls, when they changed the balls?
Yes,
No,
they
good call.
changed the balls. And when they changed the balls, that was when his worst stretch of his career was.
That's a good
He's
point.
a fly ball pitcher.
Yeah.
He can strike guys out, but he's not high octane velocity, type guy. He
That's a
throws
good point.
curveball, changeup, fastball. Kind of relies a little bit on grips. He mysteriously abandoned the cutter when it was working really well for him going into 2017.
That's a good point.
I make my jokes, but looking at it, his number was 2.93 ERA
Yeah,
in
he's been doing well.
2022,
He's been good.
3.57 last year,
He torched us a
2.61 to
couple
begin
times
this year.
too.
Yeah.
He
Mhm.
torched us a couple times too,
Yeah.
facing us after the fact. And I just looked up Tim Anderson's numbers too in Miami. Not saying that Miami's in a much better place than
No.
Chicago White Sox, but TA is still holding up a 280 average down there. So
That's good.
All singles,
Tia-
though, right?
no home runs, but I didn't see extra base hits. I already closed out.
Look,
I'm sorry.
say what you want about the off the field stuff with TA. You talk about players that did represent the city well when he was here. You have to put Tim Anderson very close towards the top of that list in terms of the past 10 years, because
Sure.
he represented the South Side well. And again, say pushing to the side all the off the field stuff, but him and his wife, in terms of all the community outreach stuff that they did, whether through the White Sox, through their own, was phenomenal. So
Also,
that's why
he batted like 300 2 or 3 4
Yeah.
times when he was up
Won a
here.
batting
So
title.
and that's why it was so sad to see like the fall off, because we saw the Field of Dreams games. We saw the walk off. We saw him rounding the bases as the fireworks were going off, and we thought, man, TA has arrived. He's about to become the face of not only the Sox, but one of the prominent faces in baseball. But I'm hoping he can get his career back online, because when he's right, he is an exciting player to watch.
I think he's gonna be a trade deadline move for
Oh,
somebody.
easy.
Because he's
I
not
think
staying in Miami, because Miami's a train wreck.
I think it's funny you mention that, because I think Miami, and I also do think the Sox are going to be two teams that the Cubs are keeping an eye on in terms of pitching.
Absolutely.
Are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting?
Look, all I'm saying is Michael Kopech is throwing 101 miles per hour out of the bullpen. You have him for one more year of team control after this year. You have an abundance of outfield prospects.
I also would trust the Cubs organization to kind of fix his wildness.
There's a deal to be had there. That's all I'm saying. I'm not
give
pushing
up?
for it.
Who would you give up? Nicky Two Bags.
No, you're one of the outfield prospects for sure. Probably looking
Keep
at
your hands off Owen Casey, though. I'm not
No,
sure.
yeah.
I would. Can I say a very stupid thing? Owen Casey and Matt Shaw are my untouchables.
I don't disagree.
Everybody
So
else, including PCA, is touchable. But Owen Casey and Matt Shaw, untouchable.
No, I have 4. I have Cade Horton, Owen Casey.
Oh, I wasn't thinking of the pitchers. I'm sorry.
Position players, just 3 then. Owen Casey, Matt Shaw, and Kevin Alcantara.
Kevin Alcantara is a great pick.
Yeah.
Alcantara would have I don't think he's completely untouchable, but he would really have to take something high impact for me to trade him. But Tommy, I'm pretty much with you. Like I'm in no way giving up on PCA, but
no.
I'm not saying he's 100% untouchable. Matt Shaw, I think, is legitimately the future at the hot corner, and I think Christopher Morel can kind of embrace the DH role or some other role on his team.
That's kind of what I'm kind of basing this off of. It was like if the Cubs had one good position right now to add to this, to like put us over the top, what position would that be? It'd be third base.
Yeah.
Matt Shaw can play third base.
Yeah,
Matt Shaw.
Yeah.
I've already said Matt Shaw is like my Chris Bryant 2.0. Like he's gonna be my guy. But Owen Casey is just so we saw it in spring how disciplined he was at the plate. He runs around the outfield like nobody's business. Like he's figured it out. He's down there basically just waiting. He's just waiting.
He's close. Yeah. He's close. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if by the end of this year we see both Casey and Shaw. I definitely think we're going to see Shaw at third base taking over here.
We're going to see PCA too at some point, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, there's a very strong chance we'll see PCA, Shaw, and Casey at some point this season. I just think in terms of potential, in terms of ceiling, I think with Casey and Shaw, you have a much higher ceiling than you do with PCA. With PCA, you kind of still have to squint to see it. But with Casey and Shaw, you just look at it and you know it right away.
Yeah. You see a lot of good attributes there, and you see them growing. It's pretty exciting.
And here's us turning a Sox conversation back to the Cubs.
I know. Hey, I mean, blame the Sox. They're irrelevant.
Yeah. We're trying. We're really trying. Hey, let's talk Bears. We haven't done that.
There we go.
All right.
I know.
So we already know that the Cubs are going to take an offensive lineman with the first overall pick. With the 9th pick.
If the Cubs take an offensive lineman, that would be something.
Could you imagine?
Damn it. That's going to be a fun joke.
And
let's start all that over. The Bears are going to take an offensive lineman with number 1.
Of course.
All right. So we know Caleb is going to be the number 1 overall pick. What it is. Number 9 is where it gets interesting. Because there's theories all around. There's theories that the Cubs are gosh darn it. There's theories that the Bears... I love baseball. Baseball is like... There are theories that the Bears are going to trade up to go get Marvin Harrison Jr. or an offensive lineman. There are theories that they're going to trade back to wait for a defensive player later in the first round, but then also gain a second-round pick. There's theories that they're going to take a wide receiver at number 9. Jordan, what are the Bears going to do?
I think take a wide receiver at number 9. I don't think there's a realistic scenario where they would trade up. Even say 4 quarterbacks do go right away, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is sitting there at 5. Brad Biggs said they would take the 9 and a 2025 second round pick at a bare minimum, but the key
and probably Carolinas, right?
I was about to say the key part in that sentence, definitely Carolinas would be the bare minimum. And I think it would probably cost even more than that. And I think Poles is comfortable with the lack of draft capital he has in this class because it was a major drop off after the 4th round. And I don't think he wants to start taking away from next year's draft. So I think there was a decent chance. I'm not going to say more than 50%, but a decent chance that Roma Dunze is going to be there at 9. And I think the Bears race to the podium to take him if he's out.
And the other reason why I don't think they're going to trade up too, despite like the picks that would have to go for it. Dunze is not that far of a drop off from Marvin Harrison Jr.
Exactly.
Like they're both super good at football. I get that Marvin Harrison Jr. is a little better than him, but the drop off isn't severe enough where you have to like drop everything to go get him, because this is a pretty deep wide receiver class. So
Exactly.
Dunze
Yep.
at 9 is a great pick. I would vote for that or trading back to get a second round pick this year. Those
Yeah.
like either of those things happen. Hey, let's go. I'm good. Honestly, whatever happens, hey, I'm good. Because like
Pretty
I said
much. Yeah.
before, just do what you're gonna do so I can keep
Yeah.
watching baseball.
It's
Alex?
true.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the situation right now, and with the number 9 pick, I think it's less and less likely they trade that pick, because I do think that the likelihood of someone falling to the Bears that they like is pretty high, because they've had a number of visits over at Hallis Hall, and I think that there's a number of guys that could potentially be available at number 9. And what happens between 2 and the Bears will have the number 1 pick. They'll pick Caleb Williams, and then picks 2 through 8. I think the best case scenario for the Bears, obviously, is if a bunch of the other teams take quarterbacks, because then that leaves as many position players as possible to drop. And I think there's enough talent where you can say, okay, say 3 other quarterbacks get taken between the 2 and 8. I mean, I think the Commanders are going to take a quarterback. I
Mm-hmm.
think that the Patriots are going to take a quarterback. I think
Yeah.
that you might see the Vikings trade into the top 8 to take a quarterback, or somebody else,
Broncos.
maybe Broncos, sure.
Yeah.
Someone might be high on JJ McCarthy to try to get him early on as possible. So I think there's going to be options there at number 9. And I think Poles now is not as worried about draft capital, but about filling out the major holes in the roster to try to win.
Agreed.
Yeah. I kind of want the Vikings to trade up to get JJ McCarthy.
I think they will. That's my prediction. I think the Vikings trade up to 4.
I think
and take JJ.
McCarthy is going to be a train wreck in the NFL.
I'm 50-50 on what the Vikings are going to do, because part of me thinks it's kind of smoke, but it could happen.
The head coach was on McAfee a couple weeks ago, and he was talking very highly of JJ. So
the McCarthy stuff is wild, because it's like Michigan didn't let him throw, because there were a lot of his throws that either would wind up in the ground or batted down by
that's what I'm
potential
saying.
defenders. And then NFL coaches are like, "Well, he didn't throw in college. We all know he can throw." It's like, wait, one
Okay.
of those things don't add up. And
You know who else didn't throw a lot in college, but could throw?
Right. Yeah. I mean, we get to this time where people just get lazy with their takes. I think it is kind of foolish that Drake May has fallen as much as he has, because from tape alone, it's Williams. Drake May is definitely underneath Williams, but I think he's ahead of Jaden Daniels. But it seems like Jaden Daniels and JJ have kind of skyrocketed up, while May just kind of dropped for no real reason.
Interesting. I'm deferring to you for all the recent things, because
There's not much going on. Honestly, it's social media is a joke.
Yeah.
Jalen changes his number to 1, and the Justin Fields truthers decided to come out of hibernation one final time and be like, is he doing this because of Justin? Is he doing this to honor Justin? It's like,
no, his college number was 1.
Yes, he wore a 1 in college. And it just
Which
goes
it's
back.
It's gonna be like when Eddie Jackson changed his number to 4, it screwed me all up. Jalen's gonna change his number to 1. It's gonna screw me all up. Brisker's got number 9. That screws me up. Like it. But I'm sure you've seen it. I did see that the numbers on the table for Caleb, 13 obviously being one of them, but number 0 was on that list. If Caleb Williams is the starting quarterback of the Bears with number 0, I mean, just the memes are gonna be.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be rampant.
Yeah, and I've heard George is not fond on giving out the number 0, so we probably won't be
Thank
seeing
God.
that. Yeah, if I had to guess,
George and I are on the same page.
For once in our lives.
Yeah, if I had to put money on it, shout out to Shohei's translator, I will say that Caleb is going to be 18.
How do you bet that much money, man? How are you so bad at gambling? And how are you best friends with a dude and you don't even know he's using your money to gamble
Yeah, I
poorly
mean,
at that?
I
16
thought
million? Good
that's the
grief.
thing. Here's the thing. I thought it was bad when it was 4.5 million. Find out today it was 16. It's like
Yeah, it's a little more than 4.5. More than
Also,
double.
maybe a good friend, but also a bad friend, because if you place a bet and you don't tell at least like your best pal what you're betting so they can
yo,
either ride or laugh in your face, that's a bad friend.
every NFL Sunday, I take a screenshot of my slip, put it in the group chat. I'm like, this is what we got today, boys. So
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Poor friend. Poor friend. A really
100%.
poor friend. Really poor friend.
Yeah.
Oy vey. All right, so we did Bears, Cubs,
I just
Sox,
want to talk
Shohei.
about the moment that I know Tommy had on Sunday night when we're watching
Yes. Yes.
WrestleMania night 2.
Yes, we have to talk we have to talk about
And
WrestleMania.
we're watching Cody finish his story, but he didn't just finish his story. He finished his story by calling on the WWE or the WWE Avengers, to where you had Seth
Alex,
Rollins.
are you familiar with the wrestlings?
Not really.
Okay. Well,
So,
let us paint a picture for you.
okay.
Think
Yeah.
of
So
okay, let's put this in Cubs terms.
Oh, jeez.
So pretend like even when you're old and gross, you could still play baseball, right?
Okay.
That's what wrestling is, because when you're old and gross, you could
pretty
still
much,
wrestle.
yeah.
Sure. Yeah, of
So
course. Yeah.
imagine that the Cubs come out and they're trying to win the World Series, right, in 2016 for the first time. And in the ninth inning, they're losing. And they bring out Ernie Banks in his prime, Fergie Jenkins to pitch in his prime, Greg Maddux out of the bullpen in his prime, Ron Santo in his prime, and every Andre Dawson in the outfield in his prime. All the like every single great Cub in their prime come out and win the World Series. That is what happened on Sunday night at WrestleMania.
It's pretty much
And
how Cody.
yeah. So Jordan, you tell him who all came out, because like I stole the story.
Yeah,
Okay.
from you. I'm sorry.
it was no, yeah, it was funny. So the whole thing is Roman Reigns has been the champion since like 2020, phenomenal championship run. Cody came back to WWE 2 years ago. His goal was to win the championship, finish the story, because the championship his dad never did. He was in the main event last year. He lost. He was in the main event again this year. And it was a Bloodline Rules match. We might have to dive into the weeds of the full-on WrestleMania season. But Cody had he first had Seth Rollins come. Oh no, he first had Jey Uso come out to his defense, and then he had Seth Rollins come to his defense. And I know,
As the Shield,
and
means
here's the
nothing to
thing,
you.
very quick thing. And again, I know it means nothing to you, but I know once I heard the Shield music, even though I knew John Moxley was signed with AEW,
I mean,
I'm like, there's no way they got like for a
I
brief
thought,
moment, I
I
thought
thought Dean
John
was
Moxley,
coming out,
yeah.
man.
For a brief moment, I thought Dean was coming out, and then they have John Cena come out, and then The Rock comes out to kind of defend Roman, his cousin, and it was just a '90s nostalgia trip, just filled.
And then
Who
the
doesn't love
Undertaker
90s
came out.
nostalgia?
Yeah, yeah,
I have the video. I don't think we can.
it's great.
I don't think we
I
can
don't
show
think we
it
can. Yeah,
because I don't know what the rules are and I don't want to break
right. The whole
them.
copyright stuff.
But so it was so like I'm sure you have heard that there's been some not great things happening within the WWE about bad things happening with Vince McMahon. Well,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Vince McMahon is gone, like gone, long gone.
Right.
And this match was a way for the WWE to be like, that is over. This is a new era of
Yeah.
WWE. And like
Right.
we are going, like, we're done with this. And they used this match perfectly because they summed up like I'd say the last 25 years of WrestleManias
Yeah,
in one 5-minute span. Because so Cena and The Rock had a rivalry going.
yeah,
And then Rock comes out to face Cena. And then Undertaker comes out to him, which Undertaker just wins at WrestleMania all the time. So then he
So
choke slams him, but before that, so Seth Rollins came out
yeah,
as he and Roman Reigns and this other guy named Dean Ambrose were a team called the Shield, and Seth Rollins turned on the Shield like 10 years ago or something by hitting
yeah,
Roman Reigns in the back with a chair. So Seth came out to hit The Rock with the chair, but Roman saw it and knocked him down and then hit him in the back with the chair as like
yeah.
payback for that after
And he had
like
a chance to get
10
Cody,
years.
and he went for
And he had
Seth.
he had a chance to finish the match, but chose to go after Seth. But then
Yeah.
Cody took advantage and won. And so there were just like 1,000 passings of the torches. And by the end of
Yeah,
it, it was
it
like,
was
and then
phenomenal.
they did a whole new speech of like, this is a new era of WWE. I mean, tears, like just, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
It was, yeah. No notes. It was well done. Yeah.
If there's, I will say, Alex, like, look, this was my childhood. I grew up on this.
Oh yeah, that's why I still stick
If there
around.
were
Yeah.
ever a time to jump in, now would be a beautiful time to jump in.
Okay.
And it's what I tell people. Obviously, it's scripted. Obviously, it's fake. But if you look at it through the lens of a TV show, like your favorite drama,
Yeah, you
then
watch his entertainment. You're right.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then you just suspend your belief for a couple hours a week, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah. And
I know plenty of people who are into it. Yeah.
yeah. And if you go to a live event,
Ooh,
just buy into it. Like, get mad when you're supposed to get mad. Like, cheer when you're supposed to cheer. Like, embrace the atmosphere of like there's grown men walking around with belts.
yeah.
Just know you're there and just buy into it. I went to like a like a month ago, I went to a show with my cousin. It was like at the Eagle Club in Cicero. And so there were
Yeah.
like 100 people in there. And we sat the front row, like right at the ring.
Oh yeah.
And and my cousin was just like, just buy into it and you're gonna have so much fun. And I did. So like they're screaming and like we're screaming at them like in the ring. And it was so much fun. So yeah, we should all go to one of the shows because
I'll
it
be
is
down.
so much fun.
I know a lot of friends who go to a lot of those shows, so they're always telling me about it.
You will not be disappointed if you go. I promise. It's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was excuse me, WrestleMania. Okay, WrestleMania, Cubs. The Bulls are currently just obliterating the Pistons.
As they should have in
Finally.
the other two games that they
I was gonna
lost
say,
against them,
fuck.
but you know.
And that was funny
It's-
because
yeah.
someone was like, "Oh, the Bulls are playing the Pistons. They should win tonight." I'm like, have you seen the other two they played against?
Right, yeah. They're up 23 with 9 minutes to go. What could possibly go wrong?
No, they got that one.
I think
That's
we
in the
got that one.
bag.
Yeah.
Alex, how was the Blackhawks game the other night?
So we had great seats in the 200 level, and I
They
always
looked great.
love going.
Yeah.
But it was the worst Hawks game I've seen in my entire life. I'm not even making that up. I've been to countless numbers of Blackhawks games. I've never seen them get shut out. I've never seen them lose that bad. And I was going to games when Martin Lapointe was the captain, and never ever saw them get shut out. I've probably been to 50 plus Blackhawks games in my life, never seen them get shut out. So it's always a good time. Don't get me
I'm
wrong, but
sorry.
the actual game itself was rough.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have breaking news. Breaking news on the Through the Garden podcast.
Oh.
According to the transaction
Whoa.
pages of MLB.com, Jose
I just saw
Cuevas
it.
has been sent down to AAA Iowa.
There you go.
Jed. Who's coming up?
Hayden, maybe?
Valencia
Yeah,
again?
it could be.
Palencia's already up.
Valencia, is he still up? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing it all now.
Yeah, probably Wisniewski.
I'm not seeing any corresponding move yet, but that's a good guess. I mean, him or the only other one is Keegan Thompson still on the 40 man?
I believe so. I can look
He's still on the 40. Yeah, so in terms of 40-man options, it would be Keegan, it would be Wisniewski. They brought back Carl Edwards Jr. last weekend. I don't think he's ready. He looked
No,
kind
I
of
don't think
wild
he's
in
ready.
his Iowa Cubs debut, but my guess would be probably Keegan actually,
Keegan,
it might be
Keegan
Keegan
and what? Yeah, Keegan and Wisniewski are
because
both on the 40-man.
and Keegan's
Right.
coming off 3 scoreless outings this week with the Iowa Cubs, so I wouldn't be shocked if it's Keegan. They try and give him one more run again.
I'm for it. Literally anything will work better.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's what we were talking about at the beginning. Is how serious are you? Are you going
Yeah.
to wait around, or are you going to make moves? And I think we're
Also,
seeing.
Patrick Wisdom is raking in AAA right now in his rehab.
Oh yeah.
So when
Yeah,
he
I
comes
mean-
back, like Miles Mastrobuoni, thank you for your service. Patrick Wisdom is gonna.
And that's why.
Yeah,
Thank you for saying that, because it's been so funny about, like, people have been like, "Oh, Patrick Wisdom doesn't have a spot in this roster." I'm like, yes, he does. Miles Mastrobuoni is not. I mean, don't get me wrong. We've cited it multiple times for what Mastrobuoni is, a 26-man who can play multiple positions on the base as well. Very good in that role. But if we're talking about the final spot on the roster, do you want?
If we can get a
Mastrobuoni or
guy to
Wisdom?
come off
You
the
want
bench
Wisdom.
and hit bombs,
Yeah.
then I'm
Yeah,
gonna take the bombs.
Yeah, you're getting the
Yeah.
power with Patrick Wisdom potentially coming back up when he's ready. And I think that when you look at the situation too, is Madrigal's been playing pretty well. There's your contact late inning guy you can play for defense, or if you need to make contact in a certain hitting situation. So I mean, having more pop on the bat, yeah, it wouldn't be illogical.
Yeah, and here's the thing we've seen already with the lineup construction on the console is he plays matchups. He puts players in a position to succeed. That's why I am excited to see how he uses Wisdom, because I have no doubt that he's going to find the right spots against lefties for Wisdom to just come in and mash. So yeah, that's going to be fun.
And he's not terrible at third base. If he had to, you know.
And let's be honest, we just need a guy like Patty Knowledge in the clubhouse, because he's just a phenomenal personality
I
to have.
love Patrick Wisdom.
mean,
I'm posting a blog tomorrow morning about his rehab, but like basically how much he
Yeah.
could mean to this team, which is a lot, because I mean, 2021 was his rookie year. I think a lot of people forget that because he is a little older,
Right.
and he only played like 40 something games combined between St. Louis and Seattle before he came to Chicago.
Didn't he play in Texas too?
He never played for the Rangers, but he was in the
Okay.
Rangers organization.
Okay, yeah.
But he knows the game, and he hits bomb like every year with the Cubs that he played a full season. He's hit over 20 home runs, which
that kind of guy should have fizzled out, and yet he can still maintain power in the big leagues.
Exactly. So he's not gonna be an everyday starter. He's gonna come off the bench, but he could still give us 20 home runs.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, give me Patty Wiz. Give me Patty Wiz.
10 times over.
Yeah. Anything else, boys? Oh wait, I'm sorry. I interrupted your.
Oh yeah, I know. We kind of hijacked your Blackhawks story.
Oh yeah. Well, I was just saying, like, get this season over with already. It's just,
No.
Yeah.
Let's get the number 1 pick.
That'd be great.
That'd be fun.
Why not? It'll be so much fun. All right. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay. So the Cubs will play 3 in Seattle and 3 in Arizona by the time we talk next.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can we go 3-3?
I think so.
Seattle's good. Arizona's good.
And that's the thing. I hate the games or the series in which we go to Arizona, because that's just such a funky trip every time. So, and I'm so PTSD from 2017 as well. So,
yeah.
Oh, not 2017, 2007.
Right. Yeah.
Oh God, that NLDS, the freaking garbage ass Livan Hernandez and his 79-mile-an-hour fastball.
Exactly. So yeah, glad you have the PTSD too.
Yeah, He never played well in that damn ballpark.
Yeah, that ballpark just pisses me off. Like, it's a big old warehouse, and it shouldn't be a baseball stadium. and there shouldn't be Major League Baseball except for spring training in Arizona.
Yeah.
I stand
And you
by
know
that.
what? If the Diamondbacks are going to exist, just go back to your original purple uniforms. Those were the
I
best.
will say their new
Those-
uniforms look a lot better than what they have been recently.
Oh, those 2016 ones that they
The-
had.
those-
Oh,
2016 ones were bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
those were
were bad, but
punchline.
their road grays and their home whites look
The
pretty
home
good.
whites are nice.
Yeah, they
the
look
home
much
whites are
better.
really nice.
Yeah, no,
They look
yeah.
much better, yes. But yeah, I agree with you. Go back to purple and teal and just call it a day.
Love those uniforms were legit awesome.
Yeah, just like
Yep.
like Arizona and Colorado and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Go back to the vests.
Yeah.
Go back to those vests. Those look
or the
good.
White Sox even. You know,
The
they
White
had
Sox
those
had the
vests
vests
for a
too.
while.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yep.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then the Marlins can go back to their teal and black because I like
Yeah.
that with the Marlin look.
Yeah.
Go back to Florida.
I
Just be
like the
Florida.
original Marlin logo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was nice.
I
Yep.
know
Yeah.
it's very early 90s looking. I don't care. I hate what they did to the Marlins rebrand in 2012.
Yeah, no,
I don't know
agree.
why they went from Florida to Miami. Was it just because they wanted to make it a vibe, even though like they tried to buy a
guess.
team right quick and they didn't even make the playoffs?
Yeah,
We're just
probably.
gonna bring 5 of the 05 White Sox, and then we're gonna just get a bunch of other players, and then we're gonna call it a team.
And,
Jose
I mean,
Reyes,
it was
right? Jose
disaster.
Reyes was
Yeah.
on that team.
He was on that
Yep.
team. Yep.
Mark Burley was on that team. I saw
Right,
him
yeah.
pitch against the Cubs that year at Wrigley Field.
Yeah. Man, those when they first dropped those Miami uniforms, I was like, what are we doing?
They were bad.
So bad. All right. So, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do next week? 3-3? Can we go 3-3?
I think so.
Okay. All right. I'm content with that. All right. Let's do all the things to get out of here. What's your prediction for next week, boys?
A 3-homer game from Christopher Morel.
3
Ooh.
It's
There you
bold,
go.
I know, but hey, go
I'm just
bold or
thinking
go
of the
home.
hitter-friendly ballparks of Seattle and Arizona.
Hey, you pull it down the line, you know.
He did crush that one in Texas.
Well,
Yeah.
That
the
went
one,
foul,
the
but
grand. Look at the grand slam.
Grand
he hit
slam,
in San
yeah.
Diego.
This week,
the
yeah.
grand slam looked good.
That
Slam
ball
Diego.
is still going.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. 3 home run game from Christopher.
Bold.
I will say we find out that Billy Donovan was offered the Kentucky job but declined it.
Okay. I'm all right with that.
Interesting.
I'm going to say Shota gives us another 6 innings and 9 strikeouts.
But you won't say the runs. I get it.
All right. And shutout.
See, now he's going to get rocked.
And a
Probably.
perfecto. He's going to pitch a perfecto.
In 6 innings.
Tommy
Yeah.
just mooched Shota.
6 perfect innings of 9 strikeout falls.
Dude, wait,
No,
well, he's slated to pitch
I-
in Seattle, right?
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
6 innings and then it rains.
But they have a roof.
Oh, yeah, they do. Never mind.
I'll just say he goes 6 innings with 9 strikeouts again.
I like that.
So
That's right. They
All
do
right.
have. I can never picture it
retractable.
with a retractable roof.
Retractable, yeah.
Like I can never ever. Obviously, the old Kingdome did when we were little, but that was a long time ago.
The
No.
Kingdome was retractable?
Well, it was permanent roof.
Oh, permanent.
No, it's a
okay.
permanent
Yeah.
roof,
Yeah, we were too little for that. What did Safeco open? Well, it's not Safeco anymore. T-Mobile. It opened in like 2000, 2001.
Yeah, and I think
Somewhere
Yeah,
in
the
sounds about right.
Kingdome was only around for 20 some years. It wasn't around
Yeah.
very long.
Well, and Turner Field in Atlanta was only around for like 16 years
No.
before they nixed that, which I'm still bitter about. I love Turner Field. I thought Turner Field
Yeah,
rocked.
that was. Yeah, I
It
liked
is still
too.
there.
Yeah, the Georgia State Panthers use that as their football stadium now, and the XFL if they have a team still. I don't know.
No, I don't know.
All right. Well, that's the show, boys and girls. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, what are we gonna name the thing?
Is it me?
I forget whose turn it is.
I'll say class is no longer in session for car hundreds.
Oh
I
no!
thought didn't I name it last week?
Well, that worked out.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you either Wednesday or Thursday next week. I don't know. We'll figure it out.